Do you know who I heard is a massive Minecraft fan?
Who?
Edgar Wright, who did the Cornetto Trilogy. Go!
Oh, we have been recording, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Go.
It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. So won't you lend an ear?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Minecraft Trilogy.
It's getting into our soul, Gary. It's taking us over again.
Welcome to the Meandering Movie Podcast, where we are going to talk about movies as per usual.
Probably drift off into like apple pie at some point with a slice of cheese on top of it.
Men in Black 3.
Still got to do it.
Tommy Lee Jones.
If we ever do a live episode, it'll start with
That's
us
what you're going to eat
just
with.
eating apple pie.
I'm excited for that because I'm excited to listen to you go, this was a mistake.
It's like all these years I've been waiting for this moment, and it's just really disappointing.
I can't fathom what the slice of cheese would add to the apple pie.
Texture?
Nah, because you know what they mean when they say a slice of cheese in an American movie.
But
they're talking about those gross, plasticky, thin.
No, but in the movie, it's like a kind of cube of cheese.
Is it?
It's still going to be American cheese, but
It's gross. It's not going to add anything. It's not going to be good.
do you know what is part of cheese? Dairy. Do you know what dairy also exists in? Cornettos.
That's
the Cornetto
not-
Trilogy.
It's not the same. Oh wait, sorry. It is. I mean, yeah, it is the same. Yeah, I'm Gary Copeland.
I'm the face of Tommy Lee Jones, Gavin Stewart. Tired, old, and fed up. That's the face of Tommy Lee Jones, who I recently just saw in Ad Astra. That's a man who's given up.
Tired and old in Ad Astra. Like the two main things.
His under eye wrinkles have wrinkles.
He's got that whole skeletal look going
Yeah.
on in Ad Astra as well.
You can still grow a hefty beard, though. Yeah, the beard was good.
It looked like an old...
Did you notice that the beard that they put on Brad Pitt at the end was CGI?
No, I did not.
It was a CGI beard.
Wow.
Yeah, the visual effects in that movie.
Why would you need a CGI beard, though? Why not
Then he
just,
doesn't have to grow a beard.
But he has a beard.
just stick
No,
one
he has
on
like
him?
stubble, but when he... Have you seen the movie?
No.
At the end of the movie, like
He has
a
a
lot
beard.
of time goes by.
Oh,
and
it
he has
goes
to have
very
a beard.
ZZ Top.
So it's like,
Okay.
they probably made the film in like 4 weeks, so it's like, you don't have time to grow a beard.
Is that how long it takes to make a big film like that? 4 weeks?
I'm just guessing. I mean, it could be like...
Well, they meant all the way to like the end of space or something. That takes a long time.
It's true.
They sent him millions of years ago, and due to time dilation, that's him just returning, and they can release the movie now, thankfully.
Do you know who has a beard? Edgar Wright, who made the Cornetto Trilogy. So this week, ladies and gentlemen, we're definitely talking about the Cornetto Trilogy, as I'm trying to get us to do.
Two greats and a mediocre.
And I think we know which one's the best. It's clearly at World's End, because that's just...
That's
magnifique.
That was my mediocre.
Oh, it's Mammy Good as well. Just making sure.
Just didn't want to offend anyone too early on. Yeah, I mean,
up front, give your ranking.
up front, you've got I think it used to be Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and then obviously World's End. I mean, really, it's a ranking of two, and then a very clear third. But the more I watch in recent years, the more I watch Hot Fuzz, the more I just cannot get over how
Perfect.
And that is not a word that I throw
Nope.
around a lot. I don't think it's a word anyone throws around. But you hear people talk about Hot Fuzz as a perfect movie so much.
From top to bottom, that movie is flawless. There's not one flaw in that movie.
Do you want to go through them as they were released, or do you want to talk about good and wander into what makes World's End so shitty?
Yes.
Which one?
Second one.
You want to talk about the good one first?
Yes.
Let's go for it.
Or should we? No. Should we?
If you say, should we start at the beginning and work our way through, I'm going to slap you because that was my first option I gave you.
No, I'm going to say we shouldn't end on negativity. We should plow through the negativity into the positivity and the light and the sun.
I know. I just think I don't know. I think you could do it historically this time. Historically, it's going to be fine. It's a bit annoying you're going to end up with World's End, but at least you're going to get the full
But it's a good movie.
full journey. What, World's End?
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Here's the thing about World's End. World's End is fine.
It's mediocre.
But it follows up two amazing movies, one which is perfect, the other is just dynamite. That's why people look at it as lesser.
Because what were the flavors as well, actually? Can I get a strawberry cornetto in Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, then a mint.
Cornetto.
And
Is mint
The first one is strawberry.
Yeah.
The second one is vanilla. with a little
Which
chocolate on the top of it.
plain blue.
Yeah. And the third one is the mint one.
I see that goes against my.
I mean,
Actually,
personally,
yeah, no,
I think the worst flavour of anything ever is always mint, because mint is shite and overrated. So
Yeah, but mint chocolate's great.
that was a reaction from the audience there. I think we need to dive into that instead.
I think we should do it. Fucking Hot Fuzz. I keep wanting to say Hot Fuzz. We should do it. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz.
Okay, let's do that one.
And the reason I think you do that is because this way we can talk about Shaun of the Dead, which came out of not nowhere, but Shaun of the Dead
Yeah,
released.
the team of Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright,
Before that point,
they'd
it's
done Spaced.
Yeah.
which was popular, but not. It was just like one of those kind of Channel 4 shows.
Well,
that,
it was popular, but it has garnered the cult.
Yeah, it was one of those
the cult
ones where
following.
your weird little friend would say, "Oh, have you seen Space?" And you go, "No, I'd watch proper TV shows." And then after Space finished, everyone went, "Oh wait, this Space show is great." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I told you like back 2 years ago."
I like how you referred to the weird little friend that tried to get you to watch Space, and then through the
Took on
story,
that character
Well,
and
and then through
became
the story, let loose the secret that you were the weird little friend trying to get everyone to
Saw
watch
through
Space.
my curtain of shadow.
Yeah, Space was phenomenal, but before that, I'm trying to think. Was there
Edgar-
anything before that, or was that with Nick Frost, Simon Pegg? 'Cause-
No, I mean, with Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, they were friends. They'd done some short stuff together,
Yeah.
but as a big kind of budget movie team, no.
Yeah, and then it released, and I think collectively won everybody over.
Yeah.
It's got so much in it. It's laugh a minute
Yep.
straight off the bat. It's well written. It's obvious, but then it pokes fun at its own obviousness, which makes it absolutely. You know what I mean? It's that kind
Because
of.
it came out in the time when zombie films were just very prolific,
Yeah,
and
they were
had and a
everywhere.
very specific kind of tone as well. And then Shaun of the Dead kind of flipped it on its head, poked fun at itself, had fun with it, and did something kind of more meaningful and resonating of resonant.
Resonant.
Because it's the blend of Edgar Wright's directing style, which is fast, snappy, and very well kind of structured, with the heart of Simon Pegg's writing, which is, I mean, the whole stuff with his girlfriend and his mum
Yeah.
and the stuff between him and Nick Frost's character. He brings the kind of heart to that film. And then you've got Nick Frost, who's just, his comedic timing is
It's
just
perfect.
so good.
Nick Frost has followed a really weird arc, hasn't he? Like,
Yeah.
because he's doing just weird things now.
I mean, last night we were flicking the channels on the TV, and that movie Snow White and the Huntsman happened to be on. He was just one of the dwarves.
Is he in that?
And then he was in, remember, he was in the Tomb Raider movie with Alicia Vikander, where he gives her the two guns.
Wait, what? What film's that? Memories of a Tomb Raider?
Remember the Tomb Raider movie with Alicia Vikander? It came out last year.
Is that called Memories of a Tomb Raider?
No, I said you remembered the Tomb Raider movie, and then you
I swear you said he was in that Memories of a Tomb
did I
Raider.
say Audio Boy? You weren't listening. Doesn't matter.
I was not listening.
You're distracted by other things.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was in that. And then he was also in that weird film that was about recent as well, last year. Last year? Yeah. The kids in the school, and then the school gets attacked by
Slaughterhouse Rules.
Slaughterhouse
And
Rules.
Simon Pegg was in that as well.
Was he?
Was
yeah.
he?
Yeah, he played one of the teachers.
Oh, God, so he was, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I went to see that movie, because I saw Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and thought, brilliant. And then I went to see it, and they barely interact. And I thought, oh, okay, this was sold to me on a very different
I like
premise.
to think that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are smart enough to be like, people want to see us together, so let's just tease it out to them. Let's not just give it away, because then
So you're waiting for the next big one to come back.
Yeah.
You're waiting for the fourth Edgar Wright, Pegg and Frost.
I mean, they're going to come back together. They're
It
like,
will
oh,
be-
World's
it'll be
End's like the last time we're going to work together, like in this way.
When Cornetto release a new flavor, they
Yes.
will rise again.
You know, there's like 20 Cornetto flavors.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're waiting
but-
for a new release.
And we know which
Yeah.
one's the worst one. Mint.
Do you remember the good Cornetto adverts as well?
No.
Bring me Cornetto.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of
Give
like
it to me.
a Go Compare kind of singing thing.
It was the original Go Compare.
Oh, I'm sorry. The
Do
Cornetto was the hipster of the singing advert.
you remember what that advert was though?
worlds.
The bring me Cornetto to the classical whatever. It was cave people singing about having cornettos.
Why is that?
Directed by Edgar Wright.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, I think Edgar Wright was a director who was did what a lot of other directors do and get their start in music videos,
Yeah.
and short films, and then he became friends with Simon Pegg, and then of course Nick Frost then came along with that. That gave us Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead was kind of one of those cult films that kind of defined a year, and then
I mean, it defined a genre, really. I would honestly say it defined the good spoof comedy of a genre. You know what I mean? It's like a
yeah, I guess you got,
genre
you got
defining.
your Spaceballs, you got your Airplane, and you got your Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, like it rebirthed the parody movie, because Airplane's very obvious. What was the other one you said?
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, yeah, like that's a riff. So they're both kind of taking the piss out of the source material, whereas
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots. Whereas what Edgar Wright does a lot of the time with
Scary
his
Movie 1 to 23.
all of those films come out, and this is more a testament to Edgar Wright, and that they are love letters to the movies themselves or to the genre themselves, but just with a comedic spin on them. You know, it's a zombie film, but it's a zombie film with a bunch of humor in it, which is great.
It looks upon the tropes of zombie films, but it also tells its own little sweet story that feels rewarding in the end.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else to say about Shaun of the Dead. It's funny, though, because Shaun of the Dead's the one I haven't watched recently. I weirdly watched Hot Fuzz.
I mean, anytime I see Hot Fuzz in any format, I just stop and
sticking it on. And then I watched World's End because it was on Netflix, and I remember thinking, I'm going to watch that because it can't be as bad as I remember. Maybe I was on a bad mood. And it's not, again, not a bad movie, but it's exactly what I remembered.
I just remember with World's End, it's like the swapping of having Simon Pegg be the idiot and Nick Frost be the straight man just didn't really work, I feel. Because I feel they were better suited to the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And then the cast was good, but the characters were just not really that.
I think the characters in the story. Wait.
What?
We'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I can't really think
so
much.
Shaun of the Dead is the introduction of Edgar Wright's kinetic directing style and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost kind of comedic writing.
It is also, if I remember correctly, the most self-aware of the three movies.
Yes.
Because, and I think it's one of my favorite moments in Shaun of the Dead, where they're walking through that park and then they bump into the
same ones, or the kind of
the other survivors, which
led
is
by Dylan Moran.
Well, it's almost a better cast than the cast of Shaun of the Dead for the time that was in at the moment.
And stuff was in the other cast.
Martin Freeman at the time, Matt Lucas, who
David
was massive from Little Britain.
Is it Dylan Moran is in the other group, or David Sirowicz?
Dylan Moran's in the main one, but the woman that Dylan Moran works with from Green Wing and Black Books, she's in the alternative group. Yeah, Martin Freeman's there. Like you watch that scene and it's it's us. It's basically the exact same team and the exact same characters, except their cast is arguably better.
At the time, more famous.
Yeah, it's just
and did more relevant stuff.
Such a brilliant little twist, and it's just nice that the whole thing is completely self-aware. Also, from Spaced, the DJ, he pops up as a zombie for all of 5 seconds.
Shaun of the Dead also offers one of those beautiful moments in film history where you watch a bunch of people with pool cues beat an old dead man to death. So.
2, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Oh, my favourite. That song's forever ruined for me. I can never listen to that song again and just be like...
Shaun of the Dead is a great movie, bar a 3-minute segment in the middle.
Plus all the other stuff.
I also love, and this is again, I feel like this is going to be an episode more about how much we love Edgar Wright. How much foreshadowing, and this goes for Hot Fuzz. I think this goes for all three of them, actually.
Yeah, there's
how much foreshadowing is throughout all of those movies.
Like with at World's End, all the pubs' names relate to something that happens in or around the pub.
Yeah, and Shaun of the Dead, there's the. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll grab your mum. We'll grab your, you know what I mean. Grab the missus. Head down to the.
It literally just lays out the entire plot.
Have a quick bite and then whatever, and it lays out the entire plot. Yeah, a few shots and a quick bite.
And in Hot Fuzz, I think it's in the dialogue that's kind of laid in perfectly. Of like people will say things that later on play a bigger part. In the film. Also,
mate, you ever shot a man in the head and watch his head explode? That doesn't happen. That exact thing happens in the third act.
When he talks about like Point Break and stuff, it's like, you ever just shot your gun up in the air and screamed, and then later on he does it, and you're like, yes, this is perfect. Or like with the journalist guy when he's talking about like he says something specific about how he might die or something. Later on, he dies the way he describes it. I can't remember the words he says.
Oh,
specifically,
okay.
but it's just like,
Catch that one. And the goose. I've handled that goose. Fun fact for our listeners. I have handled the goose that was in the Hot Fuzz movie.
you've never told me this story, so you're now going to tell me this story.
Have I never told you this?
No.
Arta, they're a special effects team. They've got a thing down in London. They got one in Glasgow. And they held an open day.
Yeah.
And... Are you okay?
I'm just very distracted as to what's happening outside of the context of this podcast right now.
Went to their open day and they had on this big table like a bunch of stuff. So they had a sandwich from Paddington Bear. And I went, why have they just got a sandwich laying on the table? And I
I
thought,
love how much Audio Boy's face lit up.
That
I've never-
sounds wonderful.
I can't
It was
remember the
great.
last time I saw him that happy.
It also looked identical to a sandwich. So props to Arta. Then they
For
had
being able to recreate I could go recreate the sandwich from Paddington right now.
not one that would last through an entire filming, Gavin. Yours would go fucking mouldy in a
I think
day.
I could give it a good goddamn go.
Then they had what else? They had like a few other bits and bobs. They had like a foot. They had something from Voldemort. Yeah, it's all
Was it
this crazy
Voldemort's
shit.
foot?
Might be Voldemort's foot. And then they had this
Was his
big
nose?
goose.
Or lack of nose.
We were going to put this on him, but we ran out of time. So unfortunately, who played Voldemort? Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, unfortunately, Ray Fiennes went Ralph Fiennes, which is incorrect. Found that out the hard way.
Were you calling him Ralph Fiennes?
I'd only seen his
You sound
name
like
written
a
down.
fucking-
His name is written Ralph.
A bag that you'd buy?
Ralph Fiennes. Ray Fiennes.
What are you wearing today? I'm wearing Ralph Fiennes today.
And then, anyway, they had this big swan neck, and I went, oh, this is interesting. And I picked it up. Well, I didn't. At first, I was like, oh, I wish I could hold that. And then the woman that was holding it over there was like, I fucking pick it up. It's fine. All this stuff doesn't matter. And I was like, really? And I went, yeah. So I was playing about with it. And it's just this mechanical goose head. And you could, like, control
We start
it.
a band called Mechanical Goosehead.
Name for a band, Mechanical Goosehead. You could control it. And then I was like, grabbing people's ding-dongs with it. And then she went, that's from Hot Fuzz. And I went, it is not from Hot Fuzz. She was 100%. That is the swan? Goose? Is there a difference?
Swan.
Swan? That is the swan's head from Hot Fuzz. It's on my Instagram, I think.
Do you know what's I'm very disappointed about with that story? Is I thought when you said you met the swan, you met just a live
A swan.
Yeah,
No,
not
it was a fake
mechanical-
swan. Which is also upsetting because I honestly, when she told me that, I went, it was a real swan though. She went, nope, that's the swan right there. Also, she told me a story of a guy who worked on Severance with Danny Dyer in the props department.
Was Ray Winston in the movie?
He was not, unfortunately. I know. But what's interesting is, or what's funny, on that, and he tells the story much in the, I was on a job and I fucked up because of this. So at the end of Severance, spoilers for anyone that's not seen a bizarre British film from
With
the
Danny
late
Dyer.
2000s starring Danny Dyer.
Of
But,
EastEnders fame.
From EastEnders fame. What the fuck?
He got nominated for Best Actor at the TV Soap Awards. How low are they sinking that they have to choose Danny Dyer?
I mean, it's the TV Soap Awards, Gav. I can't imagine they've got the best categories anyway.
That's a great point.
So anyway,
It's like the MTV Movie Awards.
was on Severance, and the guy got asked at the end of the film, one of the bad guys is going to clobber this. No, or Danny Dyer is going to clobber this person in the head with a rock. So we need you to make a rock. Here you go.
Not Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, just
Okay.
a rock.
Okay.
And they handed them a rock, and they went, you can base it off of that. Now, in the context of that conversation, and him being a prop guy, and it being his job, you would assume that he'd be aware that he needs to make a fake rock that isn't going to murder a person if it clobbers them in the head, which looks real enough. He, however, went and using polyester and clay and a few other materials made an identical replica to the rock that he'd been given, came back and was like, there's your rock. And the guy went, oh Christ, that's just as heavy as the other one. He was like, yeah. And the director, whoever it was, went, why would you make me? I had that. I don't need
I've
it.
already got this rock. I don't need another rock.
I don't need a secondary one. I just needed one that's not going to kill the person.
not
And he had to just kind of tail between his legs and go, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I didn't think.
He treated it like a James Bond movie where they have like 16 Aston Martins for different levels of damage. You thought,
Yeah.
that's what he wants, but with a rock.
He wants the exact same rock
Just in case the first one gets chipped.
on that man's skull. So yeah, that's my funny prop story. There you go.
Well, I would just say that was your prop story, but
Fine. Fair. But yeah, Shaun of the Dead's great. Hot Fuzz, however,
is a movie on another level in terms of...
And it's crazy that after watching Shaun of the Dead and coming away from that film and going, that's possibly one of the best films I've ever seen, they then managed to trump that with an even better movie.
Yeah.
On possibly every level.
Because it's like if you took The Bill, which for anyone out there, i.e. Audio Boy, who is the age of an amoeba, do you know what The Bill is?
Yes.
Damn! The Bill was
For our American listeners.
Yeah, for all of those, or for younger people, The Bill was just a long-running police
It was
procedural
like
TV show.
Coronation Street in a police station.
In a police, and boy, did that TV show escalate.
We've got Doctors now as well. That's the latest one. Although I watched a few episodes of Doctors with my mum when she works from home. I don't watch them, they're on. We work in the same office space.
I like to think you just like, Mom,
office, Doctors
is on.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, cool.
I
then.
wish. But I've watched a few episodes with
Make
it.
some
And
sandwiches. Like, that's kind of like the one from Paddington.
do you remember when you told me about watching an episode of Downton Abbey and thinking, this is all just forced drama that doesn't need to be anything?
Oh no, it wasn't even an episode. I purely just watched the movie trailer and thought, this is a movie about nothing.
Doctors is exactly that. Doctors is, I'd say it's 30-minute episodes, and 15 to 20 minutes of every episode is, I've lost my sandwich and milk for lunch. Who's got it? Where's my sandwich and milk gone? I'm on the hunt for my sandwich and milk. And then 10 minutes of this person's having a heart attack. We should fix them.
And at the same time, an articulated lorry flips over and a man's leg detaches from it, and they're just like, and that's casualty, isn't it?
That's casualty. Yeah, no, Doctors is far more Last of the Summer Wines meets ER.
That actually sounds pretty all right.
Give it a watch.
I definitely won't.
Yeah, but it's like The Bill.
Hot
Sorry.
Fuzz is like the Bill meets, I guess, like
Die Hard.
Yeah. Or Point Break.
Yeah, or Point Break.
Kind
Or
of
just,
like-
or just an amalgamation
kind
of
of
all
fast-
Or any of
these.
the other movies they reference in the movie.
You take one of those fast-paced action movies of the 80s and 90s, and then you put it in The Bill, and you think, well, that's awful. That's the worst sounding idea I've ever heard. And it comes out just as one of the greatest, most joyous films of all time.
And it comes down to the writing for me.
Yeah.
Well, writing, the
Because
action's
that
brilliant.
movie is so quotable. There's so many times that Phil and I will just like, I'm sorry, I said his name, that almost made me throw up into my mouth. There's times where Audio Boy and I will just say things like, what's the one Olivia Colman says? Nothing like a...
Nothing like a bit of girl on girl.
Ooh,
Not quite the same without the accent or the context.
It's also got my all-time favorite movie joke comment, physical comedy. I don't know.
It's the... With the...
Like Chief says, talking to them is like talking to the. It's like walking up the Andes. I can't really remember it, but it's whatever it is, and then it's timed so well to him turning around and getting a fucking filing cabinet in the face. But it's fucking perfect. That entire 30 seconds.
It's a great combination of written comedy and then physical comedy as well.
100%.
Because then you've got the stuff where like they go to the old man's farm and he's got all the weapons and the bombs and stuff, and just like he kind of hits it and just are kind of like they're kind of tensed out reactions and stuff, and it's just
And then on top of that, you do get the excellent character building of Hot Fuzz. You know,
yes,
you got the brotherly buddy comedy forming.
Simon Pegg going from a kind of closed off, morose, harsh individual to a open-hearted,
Harsher individual.
yeah. And
he does learn to be
Nick,
friendly.
Nick Frost grows,
And Nick Frost grows.
And
Stops
they-
being an idiot.
they form a beautiful friendship.
Exactly. It's a perfect movie. It's just great. Everything about it's great. And Shaun of the Dead is laugh a minute, like I already said, but Hot Fuzz is potentially
Hot
just a
Fuzz
laugh
is-
a second.
It sounds weird to say, but it's almost cerebral at times. We're just like, it lays things out and you're like, okay, where's this going? And then later on when it gives you the payoff, you went, this is genius. I didn't even see that coming. And then you just think back. And of course, when you watch that movie over and over again and you just sit there and then you then get to be behind the curtain and see how the magic is done instead of being surprised and in the audience.
And it's just great. It's a great film. I
The
can't go wrong.
greater
And
good.
another cracking British ensemble class as well.
But it's also one of those films that like you wouldn't expect it, but translated really well across to America and stuff.
Did
like
it?
Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Yeah, because like Shaun of the Dead, I can make sense why that would translate across to America because it's a zombie movie and they're simple. But with Hot Fuzz, it's like one, they wouldn't understand some of the references.
Yeah.
And sometimes the way people talk, it can be fast. But yeah, that one worked really well over in America as well.
That's
and
interesting.
It also helped elevate the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Edgar Wright ensemble.
I suppose the fourth Cornetto trilogy was Paul.
Nope, Edgar Wright wasn't involved in that whatsoever, so that doesn't count. That was just those two doing a film
was it?
together. That was Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, kind of like leading that one. Seth Rogen was producing it.
Well, you shut that off pretty quickly.
That's what I do. I just, you give your information, and I just sequential it off into the side and say, no.
I thought Paul's okay.
Paul's, I think I've seen Paul 1.5 times.
Which half? The first half or the second half?
The second
The
half.
middle half.
It's got Sigourney Weaver in it.
It does.
Bill Hader, I think, appears in it. It's a
Bill
decent
Hader.
cast.
There's that weird joke in Paul, which I've never understood with, not Jeremy Renner, the guy from Arrested Development that reminds me of Jeremy Renner.
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman. The whole film, he's Agent Zoyle, and at the end of the film, you find out his first name is Lorenzo, and then they go, and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost look at each other because his name is Lorenzo Zoyle, which is the name of that movie. You know this? Oh, okay. For context, Lorenzo Zoyle is an 80s film about a kid who has cancer, and then his parents give him a treatment, like a an experimental treatment to fix his cancer, whatever. And it's like it's not a sci-fi movie, it's not a comedy, it's like a hard-hitting drama.
One of those weird
make you
TV
cry.
dramas that you didn't see coming.
Pretty much. So they look at each other and they make that face. And I remember watching that being like, oh, cool, what's the payoff of that going to be? And I looked into it and Jason Bateman's had no connection to Lorenzo Zoyle. It's nothing. It's just somebody thought it would be funny if...
Just a really obscure reference for the sake of making an obscure reference.
Pretty much, yeah. Somebody on the writing team would have just thought it was funny if his name was Lorenzo Zoyle, which was the name of a movie, and the characters all know, oh, Lorenzo Zoyle. But it's not an actual... I don't know, I watched it and thought, that's not a joke, though. That's...
I mean, even
Because
if you,
there's no payoff to it. It's
even
just,
if you have seen the movie with...
Doesn't the same thing happen in Hot Fuzz with Aaron Aarons?
Does it?
That kid at the end, like the little ginger kid at the model village. He's like, "What's your name?" He says, "Aaron Aarons."
What's Arn Ends, though?
I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Maybe.
I'll
Maybe
look
it's
it
just
up.
a thing that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and Edgar
Maybe they
Wright.
put it in every one and I've missed all the other ones except
Maybe when
Lorenzo
Simon
Zoyle.
Pegg wrote Star Trek Beyond, they just put in a random wee thing, just like... I also just want to say that what Simon Pegg did with Star Trek Beyond was great, and it's a really good movie.
You can. I'm not going to stop you on this one. It's a fair meander.
I walked into... this is a side story, but it involves movies, technically. I walked into... what would you call it?
A cinema.
A conservatory.
Oh, okay.
At the weekend. And there were just a bunch of people in there drinking. And then I think...
Were you meant to be in the conservatory or did you just wander into someone's house?
I was at someone's house.
I hear joviality. I'm heading towards it.
I hear the clinking of glasses.
Knock, knock, knock. Hello? Never mind. I'll just jimmy the door. I'm coming, new friends.
I heard there's alcohol and Star Trek talk. Please, let me join you.
Did somebody say Star Trek Beyond in this conservatory? I'm sorry, who the fuck are you? Get out of my house. Let me tell you about Star Trek Beyond, new friends. For I am Gavin.
Yeah, that was it, pretty much.
Continue.
I know that. I mean, the story doesn't have anywhere else to go. It's just like I walked in the conservatory. Someone said Star Trek, and I was just like, well, if I'm just going to sit down and find my home here.
You're like that meme of the coffee getting poured into a cup.
Fun fact: that person was me.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember because he was that drunk.
Oh, I'd had a lot of wine at this point. Like a terrifying amount of wine.
Oh no, it's so much better now. It's so much better than
Was that
you walked
you?
into a conservatory and
It
thought
was me.
You
Yeah.
thought you just bombarded some stranger with random Star Trek trivia. And no, it's the man you live with that gets bombarded with random Star Trek trivia. Anyway, you dick.
Oh, I'm a terrible person.
Anyway.
Did I say anything? No, I was about to say, did I say anything interesting? But I was telling people about Star Trek, so of course you wouldn't say yes to that question.
Anyway, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, go watch them both. They are a testament to well-written, perfect in one regard movies. And not a single thing. I can't say. I'm trying to think of a bad thing to say about Shaun of the Dead very briefly. Like, what is there a negative to it? There's really not. It's still a great film. It's just that Hot Fuzz is phenomenal. You know what I mean?
I think with Shaun of the Dead, the pacing is a bit sluggish at points. The film doesn't have the same kind of like energy that Hot Fuzz goes on to. Whereas with Hot Fuzz, the camera movement, the blocking, the editing, the timing of the jokes, everything moves with purpose.
I mean,
if
you watch that scene where he gets bamfed in the face with the filing cabinet, the timing of that is so unbelievably perfect. And it's a testament to what you're saying. Everything about it is spot on in that movie.
I think the bit that always makes me think about just how perfectly kind of constructed that movie is like the beginning between him in London and then him getting to his little room. And if you just watch how
Peter Jackson's in that scene.
He's the
Santa Claus.
Yeah, the Santa Claus.
In the hand.
Because of course he'd made that movie, The Murder of Santa Claus. Yeah, but if you watch from the beginning to when he gets that flat, that moves in such a way where it's so like information is delivered to you in so many different ways, but it never gets confusing. Like the most perfect one is the longer he's on the train, and every time he looks at his phone, a signal bar just goes down and another signal bar goes down.
Oh,
So
really?
he's getting further and further away from kind of London and the connected world, and he's getting further out to a point where it's like he has no bars, he's got no connection to home, and he's in the middle of nowhere.
Another like great, not underusing, but another great example of them getting awesome cast and then just having them turn up for bit pieces with Martin Freeman, Bill Nighy, and
Steve Coogan.
Is it Steve Coogan, the third one?
Oh yeah, Steve Coogan.
Also,
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett plays his girlfriend.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just
You don't even see her face.
so many great like cast members in that. Yeah, great movie. And then World's End.
I mean,
And what did happen?
It's a good movie.
It's not
Yeah,
a good
again,
movie.
What is the problem?
It's just not. I think. All right, so you are right. It's an okay movie, but it comes after two things that are so unbelievably stellar. It felt like a
step down.
step down. Yeah. I mean, what's your ranking for those three films? Audio Boy. 1, 2, 3.
I love them all equally, as I
Oh,
would my
shut
own children.
up, you
boo.
Now you understand why find them so tedious sometimes.
Personally, I prefer The World's End to Shaun of the Dead.
You are insane. You are an
Yeah,
insane
I know.
person.
Why?
I
Because
just
otherwise we'll just circle
I'm not a
jerk
zombie
ourselves
person.
into a hole.
I've never been a zombie.
I thought you were
fan.
about to say we're just going to circle him and beat him to death with Q
No,
clubs.
because we agree. So
Well,
without
Bohemian Rhapsody plays
Audio
in the
Boy's
background.
input, it's just going to be you going, "Oh, I didn't like World's End," and me going, "Yeah, neither did I." I also
Please
didn't like
never,
this, and then
ever
you
do
would have
that
gone like,
again.
"Oh, I didn't like that either, Gary."
Please start talking about why you like World's End more than Shaun of the Dead.
It just like the first time I watched it, it just took me so by surprise. Like the end and stuff, where it gets transcendental and things.
Yeah.
You think it's just about a pub crawl, and then it turns into this whole other thing.
Did
about
you watch
the
them in
meaning of
order?
life.
Did you watch them in Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz?
Oh, I watched Hot Fuzz first.
Okay.
I watched them out of order. So I went 2, 1, 3. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, then World's End.
Okay, so you did watch World's End last.
Yes.
Oh, okay. My theory on that was going to be that I don't know. By the time World's End came around, I was so expecting of the.
I mean, I think that's the problem. Like,
Granted, I did watch. Well, I mean, I watched Hot Fuzz because it's on TV all the time. But Shaun of the Dead and World's End came after Scott Pilgrim and I think Baby Driver as well for me in terms of
so they're
Edgar Wright
really
movies.
recent.
Yeah.
if you want to talk about bad movies, we could talk about Baby Driver for a wee while, and I'll get into that.
It's not a bad movie.
It's a bad movie.
That is not a bad.
It's not a bad movie.
It's definitely not a bad movie.
You take out the style of Edgar Wright, and that's a bad movie.
Why?
Because it's just so plain and empty.
You not say the same about any of his other films?
No,
Or
because
indeed anything.
Because the whole magic of the Cornetto Trilogy is you've got and I've said it already, the melding of Edgar Wright's kinetic directing style with the beauty of Simon Pegg's writing. And then you take Baby Driver, and it's the kinetic directing style of Edgar Wright and his cold, dead heart of writing. And that movie's just cold and empty, and the relationship,
not.
the relationship is so just infallible, and it's these two.
I'd argue that Baby Driver is the love letter to that, to those kind of 70s driving movies. because it came out around the same time as the one with Ryan Gosling. Drive
came out 2008.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh my! Well, I seen them around the same time.
And they're also just like massively polar opposite in every single way. And Drive is massively successful at what it sets out to do, and Baby Driver isn't successful at what it sets out to do.
I disagree. I think
What does it set out to do in your eyes?
It sets out to try and be this romantically, musically constructed event, all with car chases. And the car chases are good, and the style of it's good, but the music is like... I mean, the timing of the music with the editing is great, but it's those two characters. It's Ansel Elgort, who's a horrendously unlikable human being, and then, what's her name? Yeah... Lily James, who's lovely, but the two of them have no chemistry. Their story doesn't go anywhere, and it has such a dumb ending. And I'm just like, I don't care about these two.
So I will give you that. I think the fourth act, because it has a fourth act. That's the problem that film
Last
has.
Jedi, is it?
Yeah, it's weird that he goes to prison and they could end it there, and you kind of leave it on the. Did he wait for her, or did she wait for him? You know, yada yada yada. Make up your own mind. But then they go into the, and it's that last like 5 minutes where he comes out of prison and. It's maybe not even 5 minutes.
No, it's like 30 seconds.
It feels like so fucking long. Should have ended with John Hamm going crazy, and then maybe you see him go to prison. Maybe.
With the, like, you're only going to be there for 5 years, I'll wait on you or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they're working on a sequel currently.
No, I disagree. I think Baby Driver is a great movie. I think Edgar Wright.
I think it's one of the most overrated movies of that year, and the gimmick of the music just wore off.
Though, is it?
It felt like a gimmick after a while.
It's not a choice.
It really did. Like the beginning when he's walking to get the coffee, I'm like,
great scene.
Oh, this is creative, and I love what we're doing here. But then the more the film goes on, and the more the gimmick of the music connecting with the editing of the moment, I'm just like, and because at that point. I was just looking at spectacle, and I wasn't getting invested in anyone or anything. I never invested in those characters or their stories. I didn't care about them. When they're all sitting around in danger, I was like, the car could plough through them all right now, and I would get up and leave the cinema.
This is one of these. I think this is another topic we should probably cover at some point. Sorry, did I just peek everything out there? It's probably a topic we should probably cover at some point of films that we liked or films that we didn't like that are completely based off of not enjoying the main... You know what I mean? Because I think this sounds like a problem where you just were like, I didn't like the characters, couldn't resonate with them, which is fine, you know? It's what happens sometimes, because I got films like that. As I've said previously, Isle of Dogs, and Hustlers is the latest one. Hustlers, everyone seems to be raving about Hustlers, and I've sat through that film and went...
I'm one of them.
I sat through that film and I went, I feel like I'm on the other side of
it's a weird place to be.
Yeah, totally.
It's often what I find myself, sadly. So welcome to my
Baby
side
Driver.
of the world.
I think this sounds like a Baby Driver one for you, where you've not resonated with the characters and that's tainted the whole movie.
That Edgar Wright is very clinical in his direction, which is great for his style of directing. But he's then also clinical in his writing, which then means no heart comes from it. It's all very kind of like jigsaw pieces just getting put together to like, oh look, there's the finished picture. I'm like, yeah, but it didn't feel natural. It didn't feel like an actual relation. Like their relationship and how it comes to be is just so dumb. I'm just like, I don't.
It sounds like this is another one of Gavin has a problem with relationships again.
Well, let's
To be fair, it is a bit weird. It's because his mum died, and he very much reminds her of his mum. And it's a whole...
Batman and Superman didn't end the world because they had the same mother.
Why did you say that name?
His name. Same mother? Imagine that. Imagine if Batman and Superman had the same mother. Now that's a DC universe I would pay money to go see.
I would...
Batman would be so up... He'd be like the Luigi of the DC universe. Superman going saving the world, and Batman... I made a toy to help
Does that
Superman.
mean Robin is Yoshi?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. World's End.
Yeah. See, I think that's how unremarkable World's End might be, that we just spent more time talking about a different movie.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. I get that it's the end of it's it kind of can come out of the blue. I thought it personally when I watched it, I remember thinking this didn't surprise me whatsoever. I thought this is pretty formulaic. Like I was waiting for because it's doing the invasion of the body snatchers, you know, and that's pretty telegraphed from early on. So when it turned out to be an alien takeover, I didn't go, I just went, yeah, Yeah. Like that or robots or something.
And it never felt like the story of the characters ever got a payoff that I found.
I think that's the biggest problem it has.
like-
That flash forward to the future, and
Yeah.
then he's now a robot killing
yeah,
Mad
it's
Max
so
person.
out there. It's just like what, because the movie is so front loaded with these are these characters. Here's their dynamic. Here's how they broke apart. And you're like, okay, we're now going to watch them slowly, hopefully come back together. And instead, the film just kind of goes, actually, no, we're just going to go off and do this plot instead, and the characters will kind of.
They get left by the wayside.
Yeah, they kind of get.
What happens to Nick Frost's character?
So what happens
in
when
that?
you grow up? That's what that movie's about.
Yeah,
What,
but
you become a robot killing cowboy.
Yeah. Sometimes you and your friends go on different paths, and that's okay.
Yeah, but the film
That's
doesn't.
what I took away from that movie.
I don't think if that film says it's okay though. What happens to Nick Frost in them at the end?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because he's not in the end with
No.
Simon Pegg.
Like,
So-
he dies, isn't he?
well, that's what I'm thinking. So what I'm taking away from that ending is sometimes it's okay for you and your adult friends to go your own ways because they're going to die anyway, and one of you might be awesome.
Also, when someone's buzzing,
That's me. Continue.
when Nick Frost plays the kind of idiot slapsticky, he does it in a lovable way. When Simon Pegg does it, he's just really a bit of a prick, and you're like, I don't like this character.
He's a dickhead in that film. He's not. He's not.
just-
You do. It's funny. In the other two, you care about Nick Frost's oafish character, and you feel bad for Simon Pegg having
Yeah.
to deal with him. But at least oh god, that must be annoying having an oafish idiot friend.
Yes, I wonder what it's like.
Gavin,
You knew
what an
that
easy
joke.
joke!
You knew
What
it
an
was
easy
coming.
joke to
Let's-
make fun of Gary.
Let's be honest, in the dynamic of our friendship, I'm Simon Pegg and you're Nick Frost, and he's Edgar Wright.
It's-
Audie Boy's Edgar Wright.
I have honestly been referred to as Nick Frostish for so long that it's not. I take it as a compliment now.
I mean, I've been referred to as
Anal, uptight.
prick, arsehole, dick for so long that it's just like, the bad guy.
But yeah, in those first two, you feel for Simon Pegg going, oh god, man, yeah, you understand it. Whereas in that last one,
Yeah,
dude,
'cause-
Simon Pegg was such a dick the whole film. You just feel pity for Nick Frost for even knowing Simon
Yeah,
Pegg's
because with
character.
Shaun of the Dead, it's like both characters are so low and so pathetic. You're like, you feel for them. And Hot Fuzz, Nick Frost is just a big lovable idiot, so you have to fall in love with him. But with Simon Pegg, there's kind of like a damagedness to his character,
Yeah.
that kind of draws you in to like find out why is he so damaged. And even though he's an arsehole, you can see that there's something broken behind that kind of image. You're like, oh, I want to explore more of this. But in World's End, it's just like he's just a dickhead. He's never grown up, and he's content to be a dickhead, and he is rewarded for it. And you're like,
Guess
what?
drags all his friends down and
Yeah,
just,
it's like, well, I don't understand why I should.
who are the other friends in World's End? I'm trying to remember.
Martin Freeman.
Freeman, because he's the first one that gets robotized.
Yeah. Oh, that fight scene in the toilet's so good.
Well, so that was my favorite part of that entire movie is when Nick Frost gets drunk and then punches through the glass door because he's so fucked he can't figure out the door handle. Am I remembering that right? But it's just the imagery of him just poof, rah, just raging his way through. Never fails to crack me up.
So we have Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Martin Freeman, Rosamund Pike, then a bunch of kids. Pierce Brosnan's in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Michael Smiley, Paddy Considine, Eddie Marson, and then there's a whole bunch of other British actors, obviously.
yeah. They do like their British cameos. So yeah, I don't know. You got anything else you want to try and bring it back for us?
It's fun.
I mean, yeah, I think we can all agree it's like World's End had the hardest job to do because it's like that classic
Following
trilogy conversation. It's like first one sets everything up.
Yeah.
The second one you're free to do whatever you want because it's an open universe that you've already built. But the third one has to try and tie it up in some way. And even though it's an anthology series, it still kind of follows that kind of track. Where it's
Yeah.
like with the first one, it's like it sets up here. These are what this kind of set of films are going to be like. Here's our kind of two main characters. Here's our style of directing.
Yeah.
The second one, it's
one
like,
perfects
you
it.
know what we're doing. You can have as much fun you want with this. But then the third one's like everyone's got the expectation of like,
Yeah.
this is the last one. The first two have been so kind of revolutionary. It's got a lot to stand up to, and it's it wasn't able to. And so even though it's a good film that on any other day could be wonderfully watchable, it's just always going to be trampled on because it's got two other films that are just far superior to it.
Yeah, you're 100% right, man. It's the problem with the third film of pretty much any series. Like, you look at any third, they never that strong.
I mean, I was when I was flicking through the channels last night and Return of the King was on, and I stopped for a wee while, and I was like, I wish I was watching Two Towers of Fellowship right now. Because like Return of the King, I'm just like, as much as that movie is a kind of amazing spectacle and an incredible achievement by Peter Jackson, there's also a lot of that film where it's like, oh, this is dragging.
It's also, I've said it so many times, we needed a Spider-Man 4. Spider-Man 4, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 would have been the best.
He was going to do Mysterio and someone else.
But it wouldn't have mattered, whatever he did, because after Spider-Man, after showing the arc of Spider-Man, having Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, and then doing the whole, doing the Peter Parker story, Spider-Man 4 would have just been a Spider-Man movie, and they could have just gone balls to the wall, mental, and nobody would have given a shit, because you've done the growth of Peter Parker into Spider-Man, so now you can just do Spider-Maning shit up all over the place.
Reading, or I watched something semi recently where Sam Raimi was talking about, like, he, even up until after Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, he was still talking Sony to try and get that fourth one done, and they kept kind of pushing back and like, we'll think about it, we'll see, let's blah blah.
It's weird, the Sam Raimi projects, that seems to happen a lot, because Evil Dead, he was lobbying to make Evil Dead 4, and then they made the Evil Dead reboot, which
was just awful.
I like it, but then he made the Evil Dead TV show, which was effectively Evil Dead 4,
and people seem to love it.
It's brilliant. And
then it got cancelled. And then he's been connected to the Last of Us movie for a really long time. The Last of Us. Maisie Williams was supposed to play Ellie. They had someone to play Joel.
For the life of me, I can't understand why on earth you would even just cast Ashley Johnson and
Troy Baker.
You don't need other actors.
You got to understand that the movie making systems, like, they want a bankable names. The Last of Us starring because they're doing an Uncharted prequel with Tom Holland. So there you've got your name. People love Tom Holland. They'll go watch it because of him instead of it being Nolan North. Nolan North too old to do it at this point, unless they did Old Man Uncharted. But you want to start with a prequel so then they can have at least 4 or 5 films come from it. But Sam Raimi's been attached to, at one point, I think, direct. Now he's just executive producing that movie. But that movie's never going to come out. And if it does, it's just going to be kind of...
I think Tomb Raider fucked it. I think the fact that Tomb Raider film came out and everyone went, it's fine, but it's the game. You made the game. We didn't need to see the game. They're now trying to find stories and plot points that they haven't touched upon yet. And
despite it not being that great of a film, what they need to do is Detective Pikachu type of things.
Yeah.
It's just, I think we talked about this in the video game episode of the podcast, where it's like, don't do the game, do your own thing with the property.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
If you want to do an Uncharted movie, I mean...
there's not really much else you can do with that, though.
You play Uncharted because it's already a movie / game. I can't wait to see what the Sonic movie is going to be like. Good God.
Have they released the new Sonic design
I think
yet?
they've pushed that back to 2020 at this point. So
I know, but have they gone, hey, look, we know we fucked it.
I think they're like,
what we're actually doing.
Who was that focus group we got in last time? Yeah, find all of them and make sure they never work on a focus group again. And then let's find a new focus group to try and nail down the look of Sonic.
Focus group, I guarantee it would have just gone, they would have, we got the focus group, it's these 60 something.
This is Miss Agnes. She's a farmer, age 61.
Miss
she
Agnes,
doesn't have a telephone.
What do you think about Sonic the Hedgehog? Sonic the what? What the fuck's a Sonic? She's perfect.
What do you think of Sonic the Hedgehog? I've got hedgehogs that get onto my land and I blow them away with a shotgun any chance I get.
So what do you think of this blue hedgehog? I would shoot that thing in the face with a shotgun.
Yes, I would.
That's exactly what we were looking for. Thank you so much.
I'd put down some rat repellent and hopefully it would eat it all up and just die there in my land.
Old Italian man, what do you think of the new Sonic?
No.
Too small. How about a Sonic film with a wheel that whiffs out of the window when you try to drive it?
I want to get through a week of existence with you where you don't reference this fucking comedy sketch.
Stinky!
Oh. So everyone, that's our discussion upon the Cornetto Trilogy.
You have no good movie ideas, Gavin.
I don't like you.
Yeah. I think that's it, guys. It's my final closing thoughts on this, though, is regardless of whether or not I think World's End is a good film or not, or as not as good as the other ones, you should still go and watch all three of them one after the other. You still need to take the whole thing in as a trilogy.
It's kind of like people will set aside a day or two and do the Lord of the Rings trilogy or the Star Wars trilogy, because let's be honest, there's only 3 Star Wars movies at this point. So it's like
5.
you Rogue One and
Oh no, I like the new ones, the continuations.
Okay.
7 and 8.
I'd say there's like 4 Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
We'll save that for another time. But yeah, well, the Cornetto Trilogy is a perfect one. Of like, wake up early, start, get a box of Cornettos in, invite some friends over if you have some. I don't, so I'll
100%
going to
go and watch the Cornetto Trilogy this week. I was going to one a night maybe for the next couple of nights.
I was going to say that I get to come over, but I guess
We could do it together. You want to do it next weekend?
as long as you don't buy any mint Cornettos, then
I don't think they're vegan anyway.
I'll eat the mint ones.
I don't know.
I'll get Cornetto.
know.
I've got a vegan Cornetto, so I'll get a box of them in.
I mean, that sounds awful.
That's the 4th Cornetto trilogy.
Saying that though, I feel like I should just put it out there altogether. There's
It's a
nothing.
nature
If I was
documentary.
going to choose an ice cream confectionery to consume, it would not be a Cornetto.
What would you pick? If your answer's not Twister, you're doing it wrong.
I was going to say like a Fab.
Oh, that's a close second for Gary. Like I got. You know
like a
what? I
Fab.
was gonna rip into whatever you picked, but
Yeah, I
Fab,
was ready for
can't.
it. Or like an ice cream sandwich thing.
No, you've got.
You're
another way.
limited in your option. Or like a white chocolate Magnum.
Vegan Magnums are hella good, by the way.
I've not had an ice cream in a long time. I think that's why my life is so sad. I should have more ice cream.
And on that note, I've been Gary.
I've been the face of Tommy Lee Jones, tired, withered, and fed up. And they're kids that are on TV eating lollipops.
Audio boy,
It's ice cream.
Oh, I thought it
That's
was
why I was pointing at
looks
it.
like a lolly.
you have been.
I've been here.
You've been here. Right. You can find us as always. If you want to email us, we will respond. I'm saying
I
it right
like
now.
that you have to preface it with "We will respond."
If you send us an email, one of us, one of the boys, one of the crew will send you an email back. I'm not going to promise you who. If you ask by name, we might do it by person.
That's true. Right, let us know your rankings for the Cornetto Trilogy, and if you think Baby Driver's a good movie or not, and why.
Put up a Twitter.
Also, Scott Pilgrim's good. We didn't talk about
Scott Pilgrim is great.
Scott Pilgrim is good, but I'm so bored of talking about Scott Pilgrim at this point. It's like, we get it, it's good.
It is great. Great movie. And it's video game references.
Yeah, it's like, once again, it's a great video game movie that isn't directly connected to any video game,
If not the best video game movie that's not connected to any video game.
except the Scott Pilgrim game that came out.
Oh, I seen the Addams Family trailer for the new Addams Family.
Mate, why would you? It's
Well, it was
it's
when
a
we
lo-
went to see Dora the Explorer.
You used to went to see. When did you go see Dora the Explorer?
We had an hour to kill before the quiz. Well, an hour and a half to kill before the quiz.
Was that this week or last week, or was that last week or the week before?
You were in Italy.
Okay.
Otherwise, we would have invited you.
No, I wouldn't have gone anyway. I just wanted to know if I was going to be invited or
Yeah,
not.
you 100% would have. Yeah. One, Dora the Explorer is insanity in its
Yeah,
purest form.
It's great.
And two, the Addams Family movie is. I said to Philip when it came out, I'm so sick of them taking, like, oh, the character's crazy. What we should do is just put them in high school because that's the real nightmare. And making that exact joke of, you know, like Halloween characters.
I mean,
going
it is,
to
it's
going to high
Illumination that's
school.
doing it, isn't it? So they are the dog shite of animation, and they will produce dog shite.
She looks like a douche.
Like an actual, like, you go into the shower and use a douche, or like
If you look up the Illumination Wednesday Addams, the character model looks like a douche. This has been bugging me this whole time, and I've just now put the connection of what she looks like. Yeah.
we need to do an episode on Illumination at some point.
Oh fuck, we do. Because it's so weird that sometimes they have all right concepts.
Nope.
Sometimes they're concepts.
But
And
then, but then whoever's in the boardroom just
Usually
goes,
Adam Sandler, I assume.
okay, sure. It's just like, let's just do the same formula that we did for all other movies, and then idiots will go watch it.
Yeah. Anyway, if you want to email us about your thoughts on Illumination, you can do it. The Meandering Movie Podcast at gmail.com. You can get us on Twitter at meanderingpod.
Please stop dabbing.
You can Dad. You can also get us on Facebook and Instagram by just searching for the Meandering Movie Podcast. And we said we were going to do better at social media, and we haven't made any changes yet.
One of us left the country for a while, and
but we will.
It all just fell apart.
We will. Thanks for listening. As always, guys, we'll be back next week with another
What if I just cut it off before he finishes?
I'm like, goodbye.
Easy episode.
Bye.
It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. It's meandering movies. So